Good morning and welcome to Mindful Movement. Today we're doing yoga with Becca Impala. Becca, how are you this morning?
I'm doing well, thanks. Glad to be here with you and all your members.
That's fantastic. Folks, we're glad to have you with us on this rainy day in Alabama. So make sure that you're paying attention to the weather as we go through this routine. Hopefully you can relax and enjoy it. We want you to remember that AARP is empowering people to choose how they live as they age. AARP is a nonpartisan 501c4 organization with more than 420,000 members in Alabama. AARP's role is to advocate on their behalf, all of them, without regard to politics. So, Becca, what are we going to be doing this morning?
Well, one of the main things we're going to do today is some sun salutations. It's a classic yoga sort of sequencing that's great for warming up the whole body. And I'm going to give you two different versions that you can do. I'll show a version using the chair, and then I'll show a version going down all the way to the floor. Okay, so you'll have two choices there. If you think you're going to prefer to use the chair, just make sure you have a sturdy, straight back chair like from your kitchen or your dining room to use. But we're going to start lying down and do a little bit of warm up and then come on up to standing. I'll give you some choices about that lying down part as well.
All right. Thanks, Becca. Folks, remember, before you start any exercise routine, remember to consult with your physician and to be sure that you are cleared to do the exercises. We want to make sure that while you're getting healthy, that you're also being safe. All right, Becca, take it away.
All right, here we go for some yoga today. Like I said, we're going to start with a short warm-up lying down. Now, you can lie down on any comfortable surface on the floor. Feel free to use a piece of furniture like a chair to help you get down and up if you need to. And if you prefer not to lie down on the floor, you could lie down on your bed. You could also skip the lying down part and sit somewhere comfortably like your chair and do whichever of those movements we do lying down that makes sense from a seated position, which will be a lot of them. All right, so go ahead and come on down. If you're going to come down and lie down on your back with your knees bent. Now remember, everything that I'm going to give you as a suggested movement, you could make as a smaller movement if your body asks you, say, not to go so far. If you feel any pain or discomfort, make your movement smaller or make your movement slower or simply stop and rest as needed. All right, so let's start with a few deep breaths, okay? Find your nostrils. Just bring your awareness right there to the tip of your nose. And when you're ready, take a nice deep full breath in through the nose. And then exhale, let it out of the mouth. Let that mouth and throat be nice and open, nice and breathy. Inhale again. Let's do that one more time. And then breathing in and out through the nose. And just see if you can feel your belly rise and fall. You want to take a deep enough breath that you feel like you're filling up your lungs, filling up your belly, but you're not straining, you're not forcing. On those exhales, you can start to pull your abdomen, your belly, your navel in a little bit. Give a little squeeze. Do 3 more of these breaths. All right, now just start to turn your head side to side. Notice how your neck feels. Is there a tightness? Is it tighter than the other side? Just see what you notice about the sensation of this movement. All right, and then arms. Inhale and take those arms up towards your head. Exhale and bring them back down. Now, as you raise those arms overhead, you can put more or less reach through those arms if you want, okay? So you can get a little more stretch all the way into your spine, into your waist, if you're reaching a little bit more. Let's do this one 3 more times. Good. Now on this next one, we're going to start to warm up the hips and the low back. So when you bring those arms down, bring one of your legs in towards you. You could hold the back of your thigh. You could hold the front of your knee, whatever feels more comfortable. And let's just move this knee back and forth. Oop, my microphone came unattached. Okay, knee back and forth. Well, just notice how that feels in your hip and your low back. All right, let's just hold on to that leg at a comfortable position and loosen up that foot and ankle with some big, slow circles. All right, and then drop that foot down and take a stretch overhead with the arms again. Reach, spread those fingers. And then other leg, grab that other leg, the knee or the back of the thigh, move it back and forth a few times, get that hip loosened up a bit. Good, and just hold on to that leg somewhere comfortable, easy. Circle the foot and ankle, big, slow circles. Good, and then both feet down, knees bent. Rock the knees from side to side. This might start out as a small movement if your back feels tight, and you can gradually make it bigger. Again, just see what you notice. Hips feel? Is one side different than the other? Does it start to loosen up as you do this a few times? All right, now our next warm-up movement starts to use a little more strength in the glutes. Those are the backs of the hips and your low back muscles. So arms at your side, press the shoulders back. And we're going to lift the hips up off the floor. Any amount that works for you. And then slowly come back down. We call this a bridge pose. It's nice to inhale up and exhale down if that works for you. You want to get a nice squeeze in those glutes. Let's do 3 more. Try to keep the feet firmly on the ground and the knees parallel to one another. One more time. Good. Now our last warm-up movement is going to be both knees in. All right. So again, you might hold the fronts of the knees or the backs of the thighs. And just a little movement back and forth. And perhaps even a movement side to side, a little rocking. We're going to use this rocking to go ahead and roll us over. We're going to make our way up to standing. So take your time. It's always good to just give yourself plenty of time as you make that transition. You can use your piece of furniture, your chair if you need to help you come up. Just checking my messages there. Okay, now I'm going to show you, like I said, 2 versions of a sun salutation. Okay, some folks like to go all the way down to the floor to do that sun salutation, and other folks may not want to go all the way down to the floor, especially if it takes a while to get up. But either version can be a great way to work the body. So don't think of the chair version as a wimpy version. You can get still plenty of work there. You just don't have to deal with going all the way down to the floor. Okay, so I'm going to go through the sun salutation on the chair first, and then I'll move the chair and do the version down on the floor. And if you like the chair version, you can stick with that. Okay, so everyone can come to standing at mountain pose. So this is standing with your feet side by side, toes pointed forward, and go ahead and push those legs down into the ground. Get firm in those thighs. Try to get firm in the buttocks and lift up through your chest. Just stand tall, stand proud. All right, and then with an inhale, reach up as high as feels comfortable. Maybe you even take a gentle back bend. And then soften those knees as you bend forward and you take your hands down to the seat of your chair. Now make sure your chair is sturdy. It's not going to slip or slide or go anywhere. If you aren't using the chair, your hands are dropping down to the floor. All right, then our next movement is to lift back up to flat back. So we try to get that back flat or horizontal. Push through the hands, push through the legs. You might have bent knees, that's okay. And then we'll fold back in. All right, now we're going to do a lunge. We're going to step the right foot back and have the left foot close to the chair. Again, if you aren't using the chair, your hands are down on the floor on either side of your feet. Push back into that back leg, get it nice and long. Push into that front foot with the knee roughly over the ankle and start to lift the chest. Coming off of the chair is an option that's available to any of us if you feel like you're comfortable letting go. Now our next movement is to step into a plank position. This is both legs back and our arms pushing into the seat of the chair to hold us nice and steady. A nice firm body line from your heels all the way up to the crown of the head. All right, now you can stay right here if you'd like and hold your plank a couple extra breaths. Another option is going to be to bend in a little bit and then roll the chest up. This is a back bend. It may not be comfortable for some of us. Keep the belly pulling up and the glutes or the tailbone pulling down. All right, and then we transition, bending the hips and pushing them back for a downward facing dog. Hands are on the seat of the chair, hips are up and back. You can bend those knees as much as you need to feel comfortable here in the backs of the legs. Let's take one more deep breath. And then we're just going to walk it back towards the chair. Just walk both feet back until you kind of get back where you started. Lift up that chest. Exhale, fold down closer to the chair. And then we're going to transition all the way up. So weight goes back in your heels and we sit back like we're sitting down in a chair behind us. This is called chair pose. Hands can be in front of the heart or out in front or even all the way up if you want to work a little harder. And then we'll push up nice and tall and hands to the heart. All right, so I'm going to do this next round with going all the way to the floor. But I encourage you to keep the chair if you like that version. You'll hear all the same cues and options. All right, standing in mountain pose. Firm up those thighs. Lift up through the belly and the chest. Stand tall. Inhale, reach up. Maybe there's that slight back bend. Exhale, soft knees as you come forward and your hands may drop down to the floor. It's okay to go to thighs if it's not quite able to reach the floor. And then we lift up. Those hands can come up the shins all the way to the knees perhaps. And then we fold back down, bending the knees enough to get the hands to the floor. This time let's step the left foot back. So everyone steps the left foot back. You've got your hands on the chair perhaps, or you've got your hands down on the floor. If you happen to have yoga blocks, you could use those for something in between. Firm up that back leg. Push into that front foot. You have the option to come up with those hands, just like I showed you on the chair. All right, this is a little more vigorous. Works those legs a little more. And then we'll step into plank. So plank is those legs back. Now here on the floor, you have the option to put your knees down if you'd like. Okay, so plank either on the toes, on the knees. You could be on the chair. Push away from the floor. All right, your option to hold plank or to lower it down and come into cobra. That's what we did on the chair. Chest up, a little bit of a back bend, tail down. And then release it. We're going to push back up, maybe hands and knees, maybe right up to your push-up. And then downward facing dog. You may want to adjust your feet in a little bit. Knees can be soft. In fact, I encourage you to bend your knees to start with. Get your hips back, and then maybe you straighten your knees. And shake out that head. Take one more breath. And then as we walk this forward to the hands, feel free to keep your feet wide and your knees bent. All right, and then we come up to that flat back again, hands to the shins or the knees, and then fold, and then sit back into the heels, back into the hips for chair pose. And then inhale, rise all the way up, and then exhale, fold. We're going to go right into another one. We're going to do 2 more rounds, okay? Inhale up. Exhale, bend the knees, fold down to the chair or down to the floor. Inhale, lift back up, part way. And then exhale, fold forward, hands on the floor or the chair. Let's step the left leg back. Let's step the right leg back. That's the other side. All right, firm up that right leg. Push into that left foot. Option, that means you don't have to do it, to come up with those hands. This takes some balance if you want to try it. All right, and then we'll go to plank, hands on the floor or the chair. Step it back, knees up or down if you're on the floor. Push with those arms, keep the belly in. Remember, you have that option to stay right here or to lower down a bit. Curl up through that chest, any amount of lift here. And then release it. Press it back up. Maybe hands and knees as your transition. Downward facing dog. Knees can be soft. Try to reach those hips up and back. Push firmly into those hands. All right. And then we make that transition, walking the feet towards the hands or towards the chair. Remember, your feet can get wide. Lift up halfway. And then fold. Sit down into those hips. Come up slowly for your chair pose. Get your balance. Choose your arm position. And then rise. Maybe there's that back bend at the top. And hands to heart. So we're going to do 1 more round to even us out. I'm going to do this last one on the chair again, just to give people that option again to see it. Okay. All right. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, fold. Hands to the floor if they reach. Hands to the chair if you'd like. Inhale, lift halfway back up. You can push into the seat of the chair or your hands are on your shins. Exhale, fold back in. Hands can stay on the chair or go down to the floor. Left leg back this time. Push into that front foot. Push into that back thigh. Maybe come off of the hands. They could stay at the heart. You could try reaching them all the way up. All right, and then we transition to plank. So hands come back down to whatever you're putting them on, the chair, the floor. Step back. Center up that body in a nice long straight line. Strong arms. Keep the belly in. Remember that option to have your knees down if you're on the floor. Now, you can certainly stay right here. You don't have to do the back bend. But if you want to do the back bend, lower yourself down. Curl the chest up. Keep that belly lifted. And then transition. Slowly pushing up off the floor if you're down there, and then back into downward facing dog. Arms extended nice and long, knees soft. Maybe you start to push the thighs back to help straighten the knees, but only if your body says that that's okay. You may not need to do that much. 1 more breath. And then walk those feet towards the hands. Come to that lift, hands up the shins or on the chair, fold. Shift your weight back into your heels, slowly get your balance, bring your head, your hands up. Maybe reach them all the way overhead. And then rise. And hands to the heart, pause. All right, excellent. Hopefully you feel a little warm now. Your body's working. Maybe you're breathing a little bit harder. So check in, see if that's an okay thing. If you feel like you need to sit down and rest at this point, that's okay. That's what you should do. If you feel like you're doing well and you're going to keep going with me, we're going to turn your chair if you feel like you need to use it so that you've got the tall part close to you. All right, so it's there as an option for balance or transition. If you don't feel like you need it, don't worry about it. Now let's step out, legs nice and wide with one foot close to the chair. All right, so we're going to turn one leg a little bit in, and then if you're using the chair, turn the leg close to the chair, towards the chair. So the knee turns, the toes turn. All right, we've got these legs nice and open, and we bend into that front knee. And just see how your knee feels. That'll tell you how far you should go, right? So if your knee is happy, you can take that knee, right to a bend that's over the ankle or even a little bit past. If your knee is not happy, back it off a little bit. Do try to keep that knee lining up with your toes, okay? So that knee is pointing straight down the foot. And then arms are up. You could hold on to the chair with one hand or reach them both up. Good. Firm up that back leg. Lift up with the belly to get taller. Good. This is warrior 2. And then we're going to take this and flow just a little bit. We're going to come hand either to your chair if you want, or elbow down to your thigh and stretch over with that other arm. And then come back up to your warrior 2. And then take it down and stretch. And then back up. Here's what it might look like using the chair. One more time. And then back to center. Straighten that knee. All right, turn, walk your feet in. I just want you to give it a little shake here in the middle. Roll those shoulders. All right. Now, if you're not using a chair, you could just stay as you are in this space and turn your feet the other way. If you're using that chair, you can turn your body around, okay? Get your other leg close to the chair. I'm going to flip mine just so I can keep facing the screen, of course. All right. So stepping out wide, make sure you're going to go the other direction with your legs this time. Turn one set of toes a little bit in, and then turn that knee to that straight on towards your toes position and decide how far you want to bend it. Okay, what feels comfortable in your knee. Again, keep pushing that knee out so that it points the same direction as your toes as best you can. Firm up the back leg, lift up the belly, and then start to find that reach to the arms. They're out there parallel to the ground, stretching out nice and long. Get those active arms. Remember, you can hold the chair the whole time or have it close by in case. All right. And then we'll come to our side angle. So this is elbow or hand on the thigh. Reach the top arm over the ear. And then strong legs, push it back up. Let's do it again. You can feel free to put the hand on the chair as needed. Back up. Find that warrior 2. Check that your knee is still pushing out. 2 more times. Last one. Good. Drop those arms. Straighten the bent knee. Turn the feet and walk it on in. Shake it out a little bit and roll the shoulders. All right. We're going to finish with a balance pose. Again, anytime you feel like you need a little extra security or safety, have the chair or another piece of furniture or even a wall close by you. Okay. All right. So let's shift that weight into that right leg and pick up that left knee and turn the left knee out. You can put that foot right on your calf or further down so that the toe can touch, or even higher up if you're comfortable, okay? And then maybe both hands come to the heart. Maybe you keep holding on somewhere. Squeeze the hips in, especially that standing leg. Hug it in and firmly reach down into the ground with that standing leg. If you feel like you can grow those branches a little bit from tree pose, spread one or both arms out. Now, focal point helps. Find something to stare at, preferably not something that's moving. So maybe not me, but something else to the side of your computer or your tablet. All right, and then let's bring it on down. Shake those legs out. Maybe that standing leg even needs a little circle around that ankle. All right, other side. So stand on that left leg. Pick up the right knee. Turn that knee out. Find a place to put the foot, anywhere you like. Squeeze the hips in. Get tall. Get long down to the standing leg. And see if you want to take those branches out and up. It's okay to wobble. It's even okay to sort of fall out of these balance postures. If you have to touch down, no problem. Don't think of that as a mistake or, a setback or a failure. It actually just means that you've challenged your body. You've given your body something that it had to really respond to. All right, bring it back down. Again, give it a little shake out. All right, we're going to wind it down and just sort of calm down with a little relaxation. And you can do this either seated, which is what I'm going to do just to stay a little more visible to the camera. But you're also welcome to come all the way down and lie down to get more comfortable if you want to. So your choice, lie back down, sit in your chair. Let's roll those shoulders back and down. Gently turn the head side to side. All right, and then bring that head to center. Just take a moment to notice. I want you to just to check in, scan your body. This is a great time to close your eyes if you're comfortable with that, or simply drop your gaze and make a soft focus for the eyes. Just bring awareness to your body, your shoulders, your wrists, your hands. Notice your lower back, your hips. Down through your legs, to your knees, your ankles. And just see what effects you notice from the movement practices we've done, from using your muscles and joints. And then try to bring your awareness to something a little less solid or a little less tangible than the physical body. See if you can sense your energy, okay? Just your state of energy, your state of alertness, or your state of just internal activity. Does your energy feel heightened? Does it feel calmed? Is it moving in any particular direction? And then let's imagine that we can tie that energy state to our breathing. And for the next couple of moments, just maybe 1 or 2 minutes, we're going to just see if we can slow down our breathing. So just an overall slowing down. Slow down your inhale. And slow down your exhale. Even see if you can slow down those spaces between the inhales and the exhales so that there's a short little pause after you breathe in, and then there's an even longer pause perhaps after you breathe out. And as you take these slow breaths, see if you notice your energy state responding, changing, settling. Three more breaths, even slower than all the breaths that have come before. And then drop those arms to your side. Wake up your hands, your wrists, your fingers. And then take a bigger breath in and reach the arms. And then bring the hands down to the heart. I always like to close my classes with just a moment of gratitude. Gratitude for your body and all that it does for you. Gratitude for this opportunity to tune in and use your awareness. Gratitude for any other things that you have in your life to be thankful for. Perhaps your health, perhaps AARP, perhaps spring. So anything that comes to mind. Take one more breath in with me. And just bow the head. And thanks so much for joining me and AARP of Alabama for our mindful movement. Please give us any comments or questions that you may have. I'll be happy to answer them.
Thanks, Becca. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break and let you catch your breath. And remember, put your questions in. We have one question for you, Becca. We're going to take a quick commercial break and come back and answer that question.
Great.
Thank you, Dorothy Dorton, for that great video. Hey, Becca, we had a couple of questions. I'm going to pop it up on the screen so you can see it. Here's the first one. Ask about you mentioned the yoga blocks, and some folks may have them, but if we don't have the yoga blocks, what can we use at home as a substitute?
That's a great question. And this is a yoga block. This is about the size of one. And really, this size is not crucial, right? This is just an arbitrary size, but it does give us 3 choices. But anything that is going to be sturdy enough to put some weight on, and that will give you a little bit of height from the floor. So chairs are actually really great substitutes. I love using the chair. But if you wanted something a little lower or closer to the ground, if you had a ottoman that was lower, you could put that ottoman in front of you and use it much like the chair, but maybe it'd be lower down. You could also use, if you've got any real thick books, okay? So some people will stack a couple of books on top of one another and use those as something to put their hand on when they're, say, in that lunge position. That's something that raises up the floor. So anything that's going to be sturdy enough to bear your weight and gives you anything from 3 or 4 to 6 to 10 inches off of the ground.
Okay. We had another question that I'm not really sure I understand the question.
Okay.
So maybe you can help me with this one. C. Davis is asking, is saying they need to stay seated sometimes.
Absolutely.
But they want to make sure they can still do the steps that you're doing in yoga. So I think they're talking about modifications.
Yeah. So I try to give you choices, but it's not possible for me to anticipate every option, but you could be creative. So almost all of our movements, we could do some version of them from a seated. So I even have sort of sun salutation routines that stay in the chair. So if you can't do anything standing up, even with holding on, then you do the best you can to make similar movements in the chair. So say, for instance, you want to stay seated in the chair. Then your sun salutation, instead of a downward facing dog, you might do this reach with the arms. So you're still getting the length of your arms and your spine, but not bearing weight on your hands or not standing up. Those lunges, you could turn sideways in your chair and just see how much you can extend a leg back. Okay, and stay seated on the chair instead of being standing. All right, and even if you're sitting and being creative and moving those same areas of the body in whatever chair, you're getting some movement of the body, the muscles and the joints, and that's going to be helpful and healthy for you.
Becca, thank you for this great information. Folks, we want you to remember that we're here for Mindful Movement every Tuesday at 10 a.m. But also remember that we have other events coming up. We've got Wisdom Wednesday coming up tomorrow, and my colleague Dorothy Dort is kicking off a new series with Alabama Cares at 11 tomorrow, 11 Central. So stay tuned and stay up to date on what's happening with AARP Alabama. Thanks, Becca. Folks, we'll see you next week.